Have you ever wondered why some people seem happier, alone, as they get older? I'm talking about those folks over 70 who just radiate peace, no big social circle, no constant plans, just them. Well, today I'm spilling the tea. You don't actually need friends after 70, and it might just be the secret to a freer, happier life. Stick around, because I'm about to share 7 surprising reasons why letting go of friendships in your later years can be liberating, backed by real stories and insights I've gathered from years of researching aging and interviewing people who've been there. Trust me, by the end of this, you might rethink everything you've been told about growing older. Let's dive in. Here's the deal. I'll walk you through 7 reasons why friendships might not be as crucial after 70 as you think, why this shift can work for anyone at that stage, and how it's changed lives, including some of the people I've talked to who've gone from social butterflies to solo superstars. I've spent years digging into what makes aging fulfilling, interviewing dozens of folks over 70 who found freedom in rethinking social ties, and I've seen firsthand how this mindset flip can unlock a level of peace you didn't know was possible. Plus, I'll throw in some extra tips to make it even better. Ready? Let's get started with reason number 1. Reason number 1, you've outgrown the need for approval. All right, first up, why do we even have friends in the first place? Think about it. When you were younger, did you ever feel like your social circle was a scorecard? I know I did growing up, always trying to fit in, be liked, keep up with the cool kids. But here's a question. Does that still matter after 70? Let me tell you about Clara. She's 72, a retired teacher, and back in the day, she was the queen of hosting dinner parties. Picture this, her house buzzing with laughter, plates clinking, everyone loving her warm vibe. She had this big, vibrant group of friends. But when she hit her late 60s, something shifted. She started noticing how much energy she was pouring into keeping everyone happy, planning menus, chatting about nothing, nodding along to the same old stories. One night, after yet another gathering, where she felt more tired than fulfilled, she sat on her couch, glass of wine in hand, and asked herself, "Why am I still doing this?" And that's when it hit her. She didn't need anyone's approval anymore. She'd already lived a full life, raised kids, built a career, made her mark. She wasn't that 20-something trying to prove she belonged. The payout. After 70, you've earned the right to stop chasing validation. Friendships often come with that unspoken pressure to prove yourself, impress, entertain, fit in. But when you let that go, you're free to just be. No scorecard, no stress, just you living for you. No more. Reason number 2, silence beats small talk every time. Next up, have you ever sat through a conversation that just wouldn't end? You know, the kind where you're smiling politely but screaming inside, "Please, make it stop." That's where reason 2 comes in. Meet Tom. He's 75, used to be a salesman, so he was great at talking to anyone. Picture him in his prime, charming clients, cracking jokes, the life of every room. For years, his weekends were packed with coffee meetups and golf outings, always surrounded by people. But after he retired, he started dreading those catch-ups. One day, he'd show up, trade stories about the weather or someone's new car, laugh a bit. But deep down, he was exhausted by it all. It wasn't fun anymore. It was a chore. One afternoon, he skipped a usual group hangout and just sat on his porch with a cup of tea, watching the birds flit around his feeder. No chatter, no updates about someone's grandkids, just quiet. And you know what? He loved it. He sat there for hours, feeling the breeze, letting his mind wander, and realized he hadn't felt that relaxed in years. Here's the big reveal. After 70, silence can feel more valuable than socializing. You've done your time with the noise, decades of parties, small talk, keeping up. Now you get to choose peace over pointless chatter. It's not about being antisocial. It's about picking what actually fills your tank. And trust me, once you taste that quiet, you'll wonder why you ever bothered with all that noise. Reason number 3, less drama, more calm. Okay, reason 3, ever had a friend who just lets you down? Maybe they flake on plans, or they would only call when they need something, leaving you hanging when it's your turn. It's draining, right? Take Linda. She's 71, and she used to have this tight-knit crew from her old job at a marketing firm. They'd meet up monthly at a little diner, swapping gossip over coffee, venting about life, laughing at inside jokes. It was her thing, but over time she noticed a pattern. She was always the one checking in, planning the next meetup, listening to their woes. When her husband got sick last year, a tough stretch with hospital visits and worry, she expected them to rally around her, but only one of them even texted to see how she was. The rest, crickets. It stung, but it also woke her up. She started pulling back, skipping those meetups, letting the phone go to voicemail. And guess what? The world didn't end. She spent those evenings instead curled up with a good book or walking her dog, feeling lighter each time. The payout here, fewer friends mean less drama. After 70, you don't need the stress of one-sided relationships or the disappointment of unmet expectations. You've got better things to focus on, like your own calm, your own rhythm. Why waste energy on people who don't show up when you've already got enough on your plate? Now Reason number 4, your time's too good to waste. Reason 4 hits hard. Ever feel like time's speeding up the older you get? I swear days used to feel longer. Now they're gone in a blink. Every minute counts, and that's where this comes in. Picture George. He's 78, a former engineer with a packed social calendar back in the day. Think dinner parties with colleagues, weekend barbecues, always something on the go. Post-retirement, he kept it up. Lunches with old work buddies, car games at the community center, you name it. But last year he had a health scare. Nothing major, just a wake-up call with a trip to the ER. It made him think. He started asking, is this how I want to spend my time? One day he ditched a loud group brunch, think clattering plates and forced laughs, and went fishing instead. Just him, the water lapping at the shore, and his thoughts. He cast his line, watched the ripples, and came back happier than he'd been in months. No one bugging him about politics or complaining about their knees. Just pure, uninterrupted him time. The key? After 70, your time's too precious for friendships that feel like chores. You've got maybe 20, 30 years left. Why spend it on obligations? You get to pick what lights you up, whether it's fishing, gardening, or just napping in the sun. Time's your gold now. Spend it on you. Reason number 5. You're your own best friend. All right, reason 5. Who's the one person who's been with you through it all? Every high, every low, every weird haircut. Spoiler, it's you. Let's talk about Evelyn. She's 73, a widow, and used to think a full social life was the goal. She'd drag herself to book clubs, church potlucks, anything to stay busy and connected. Picture her rushing around, juggling schedules, always with a smile plastered on. But one winter, she got snowed in for a week. No visitors, no plans. Just her, some tea, and a stack of old photo albums she'd been meaning to sort. She started flipping through baby pictures of her kids, her wedding day, that trip to the coast in '85. She laughed at memories, teared up a bit, reflected on her life. By the end of it, she felt whole. She didn't need anyone else to fill that space. She'd spent decades becoming someone she actually liked. Here's the truth. After 70, you don't need a crowd. You've got yourself. You've lived enough to know your quirks, your strengths, what makes you tick. That's the best companionship there is. No one else can top that. Not a friend, not a party, nothing. And once you get cozy with that idea, you will see how freeing it is to not need anyone else to feel complete. Reason number 6, you've earned the right to be selfish. Okay? Reason 6, ever feel like you've spent your whole life putting others first? Kids needing rides, spouse needing support, coworkers needing favors, friends needing a shoulder. It's always someone, right? But what if I told you that after 70, it's finally your turn? Meet Diane. She's 76, a former nurse who spent decades being everyone's rock. Picture her in her scrubs, calming patients, then coming home to field calls from friends, venting about their marriages or their bosses. She'd listen, offer advice, even drop everything to bring soup when someone was sick. It was who she was, Miss Reliable. But a couple years ago, she hit a wall. One friend kept unloading drama, same old complaints about her lazy son. No solutions, just whining, and Diane just couldn't do it anymore. She started saying no, skipping those calls, letting them ramble to voicemail. And you know what she did instead? She signed up for a painting class she'd always wanted to try. Watercolors, messy brushes, the works. At first she felt guilty. Am I being selfish? Should I check in? But then she realized something. She'd spent 70 years earning the right to put herself first. She'd raised a family, saved lives, been there for everyone. The payout? After 70, you don't have to be anyone's emotional dumping ground. Friendships can demand a lot: time, energy, patience, and you've got every right to say, not anymore, this time's for me. It's not selfish, it's self-respect, and you've more than earned it. Reason number 7, the world's changed, and so can you. Reason 7, ever notice how friendships aren't what they used to be? Back in the day, they were built on real stuff. Shared meals around a table, long talks on the porch, showing up with a casserole when someone was down. Now it's all texts, emojis, and likes. Surface-level noise. Take Robert, he's 80, a retired mechanic who loved his old crew. Picture them in the 70s, hanging out at the garage, cracking jokes over greasy hands, fixing cars together till midnight. Those were bonds, but over time things shifted. His buddies moved away, got busy with grandkids, or just stuck to quick, "Hey, how's it going?" messages that went nowhere. At first he tried keeping it alive, sending updates about his garden, planning reunions with beer and stories, but it felt forced. Half the time they'd cancel or just send a thumbs-up emoji. Then he had an epiphany while scrolling through his phone one day. The world's changed, and he didn't have to keep up. He ditched the pressure to chase those fading ties and started exploring what he wanted, tinkering in his shed on old radios, watching documentaries about World War II, no one to answer to. The big reveal: after 70, you don't need to cling to friendships that don't fit today's reality. The way we connect has evolved, less deep, more digital, and you're free to evolve too. Let go of the old playbook and write your own on your terms, not the world's. So there you have it, 7 surprising reasons you don't need friends after 70, and why it's more liberating than you'd think. Maybe you're already feeling the shift, noticing how good it feels to step back. Or maybe it's a new idea to chew on that's got you curious. Either way, I'd love to hear from you. What hit home the most? Drop a comment with the number that resonated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. And tell me why. Did Clara's story make you nod? Did Robert's shift spark something? Oh, and if you like this, hit that like button and subscribe. I've got more videos like this coming your way. Speaking of which, letting go of friendships is one thing, but figuring out what does bring you joy after 70, that's the next level. Check out my video on that right here. Point to screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.